Random House Audiobooks presents F is for Fugitive by Sue Grafton. Read for you by Judy Kaye.
F is for Fugitive. The Ocean Street Motel in Floral Beach, California is located, oddly enough, on Ocean Street, a stone's throw from the seawall that slants 10 feet down toward the Pacific. The beach is a wide band of beige trampled with footprints that are smoothed away by the high tide every day. Public access is afforded by a set of concrete stairs with a metal rail. A wooden fishing pier built out into the water is anchored at the near end by the office of the Port Harbor Authority, which is painted in a virulent blue. 17 years ago, Jean Timberlake's body had been found at the foot of the seawall, but the spot wasn't visible from where I stood. At the time, Bailey Fowler, an ex-boyfriend of hers, pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter. Now he'd changed his tune. Every violent death represents the climax of one story and an introduction to its sequel. My job was to figure out how to write the proper ending to the tale, not easy after so much time had elapsed. Floral Beach has a population so modest the number isn't even posted on a sign anywhere. The town is 6 streets long and 3 streets deep, all bunched up against a steep hill largely covered with weeds. There may be as many as 10 businesses along Ocean Street, 3 restaurants, a gift shop, a pool hall, a grocery store, a T-shirt shop that rents boogie boards, a Frosty Freeze, and an art gallery. Around the corner on Palm, there's a pizza parlor and a laundromat. Everything closes down after 5 o'clock except the restaurants. Most of the cottages are one-story, board and batten, painted pale green or white, built in the 30s by the look of them. There are several boxy stucco apartment buildings with names like the Sea View, the Tides, and the Surf and Sand. The whole town resembles the backside of some other town, but it has a vaguely familiar feel to it, like a shabby resort where you might have spent a summer as a kid. The Ocean Street Motel is 3 stories high, painted lime green, with a length of sidewalk in front that peters out into patchy grass. I'd been given a room on the 2nd floor with a balcony that allowed me to look left as far as the oil refinery, surrounded by chain-link fence and posted with warning signs, and to my right as far as Port Harbor Road, a quarter of a mile away. My name is Kinsey Millhone. I'm a private investigator licensed by the state of California, operating ordinarily in the town of Santa Teresa, 95 miles north of Los Angeles. Floral Beach is another hour-and-a-half farther up the coast. I'm 32 years old, twice married, no kids, currently unattached, and likely to remain so given my disposition, which is cautious at best. At the moment, I didn't even have a legitimate address. I'd been living with my landlord, Henry Pitts, while my garage apartment was being rebuilt. It had been demolished by a package bomb during my last case. My current stay at the Ocean Street Motel was being underwritten by Bailey Fowler's father, the father of the man who had pleaded guilty to Jean Timberlake's murder 17 years ago. Royce Fowler had just hired me. I had just moved back into my office, newly refurbished by California Fidelity, the insurance company that accords me space in exchange for my services. The walls had been painted a fresh white. The carpeting was slate blue, a short pile wool shag that cost $25 a yard, exclusive of padding and installation, folks. My file cabinet was in place, my desk arranged near the French doors as usual, a new Sparkletts water cooler plugged in and ready to provide both hot and cold trickling water, depending on which button I pushed. This was classy stuff, and I was feeling pretty good, almost recovered from the injuries I'd sustained on the last case I worked. Since I'm self-employed, I pay my disability insurance before I even pay my rent. My first impression of Royce Fowler was of a once robust man whose aging processes had accelerated suddenly. I guessed him to be in his 70s, somewhat shrunken from an impressive 6'4". It was clear from the way his clothing hung that he'd recently dropped maybe 30 pounds. He looked like a farmer, a cowboy, or a roustabout, someone accustomed to grappling with the elements. His eyes were icy blue, brows and lashes sparse. his pale skin mottled with broken capillaries. He used a cane, but the big hands he kept folded together on the crook of it were as steady as stone and speckled with liver spots. He'd been helped into his chair by a woman I thought might be a nurse or a paid companion. He didn't see well enough to drive himself around. The woman turned out to be his daughter, Anne. His facial features were oversized, while hers were apologetic. She had dark hair and a slight overbite that should have been corrected when she was a kid. I pegged her at 40-some and wondered if she still lived at home. So far, she'd avoided making eye contact with me. His wife, who was sick, had stayed home, and he himself wasn't doing too well. He filled me in on his troubles. "My son Bailey was arrested in Downey 3 weeks ago by mistake. They figured out pretty quick they had the wrong man, so they released him within a day. Then I guess they turned around and ran a check on him, and his prints came up a match. He was rearrested night before last." I nearly said, "A match with what?" but then my memory gave a lurch. I'd seen an article in the local paper. "Ah, yes," I said. "He escaped from the prison at San Luis 16 years ago, didn't he?" "That's right. I never heard from him after the escape and finally decided he was dead. The boy nearly broke my heart, and I guess he's not done yet." Royce Fowler paused to catch his breath. "I hired him a lawyer. Now he's back, and I want him cleared." "You're appealing the conviction?" I asked. Anne seemed on the verge of a response, but the old man plowed right over her. "Bailey never went to trial. He made a deal, pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter on the advice of this court-appointed public defender. This PD was a worthless son of a bitch." I wondered what kind of evidence the prosecution had. Usually the DA won't make a deal unless he knows his case is weak. "What's the new attorney telling you so far?" I asked. "He won't commit himself until he sees the files, but I want to make sure he has all the help he can get. There's no such thing as a private detective up in Floral Beach, which is why we came to you. We need someone to go to work, dig in, and see if there's anything left. A couple witnesses died, and some have moved away. The whole thing's a damn mess, and I want it straightened out." I warned Royce Fowler that I couldn't work miracles, and took the job. He agreed to a standard contract, $30 an hour, plus expenses with a $2,000 advance. Anne finally spoke up. "Bailey told Pop he was innocent." "Well, he is," Royce snapped. "I said that from the first. He never would have killed Jean under any circumstance." "I'm not arguing, Pop. I'm just telling her." Royce didn't bother to apologize, but his tone underwent a change. I don't have long," he went on. "I want this squared before I go. You find out who killed her, and I'll see there's a bonus." "That's not necessary," I said. "All right, then. I own a motel in Floral Beach. You can stay free of charge for as long as you need. You can drive up tomorrow. Bailey's attorney is in San Luis. He'll tell you what he wants." I went home and packed. Henry was making dinner for us. He's 82 and he likes to take care of me. My parents were killed in a car crash when I was 5, and I was raised by my maiden aunt who taught me independence. Henry's parenting was getting a little on my nerves. It would be good to get away. The next day I drove up to Floral Beach and the Ocean Street Motel. The motel office was small, the registration desk blocking off access to what I surmised were the Fowlers' personal quarters in the rear. My crossing the threshold had triggered a soft bell. "Be right out," someone called. It sounded like Anne. I moved to the counter and peered to my right. Through an open door, I caught a glimpse of a hospital bed. There was the murmur of voices, but I couldn't see a soul. Several minutes passed. I leafed through a brochure on the counter for the Eucalyptus Mineral Hot Springs, which I had passed on the road coming in. Anne came through the door behind the counter. "Jean Timberlake worked there in the afternoons after school," she said. Anne seemed more relaxed than she had in her father's company. I put the pamphlet down. "Doing what?" I asked. "Maid service, part-time. She worked for us, too, a couple of days a week." "Did you know her well?" "Well enough," Anne said in a detached manner. "She and Bailey started dating when he was 20. She was a freshman in high school." "A little young for him, wasn't she?" I said. Her smile was brief. 14. Any other comment was curtailed by a voice from the other room.
"Anne, is someone out there? You said you'd be right back."
Sample complete.
Ready to continue?